vampire. A ballerina vampire.
Hey, do you like vampires? Of course you do, since it's 2015. Wait, it's not 2015, but it's a vampire movie. Should I just start over? Oh, okay. Do you like kidnapping children? Hello everyone, and welcome back to another movie review after some gameplay videos and my Amazon ranting video. But I'm back to my bread and butter now with the review of the movie Abigail, which was released in 2024 and has an IMDb rating of 6.6 out of 10 and a popularity of 39. Abigail was directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin, sorry if I butchered that, and Tyler Gillette. Guys, ease your last names, make it easier for me. With the main cast consisting of Melissa Barrera as Joey, Dan Stevens as Frank, William Collette as Rickles, Catherine Newton as Sammy, Kevin Durand as Peter, Angus Cloud as Dean, and Alicia Ware as Abigail, the namesake of the movie. We are very quickly introduced to our main characters as they appear to be getting ready to pull off some sort of heist, Missions 11 style. And it appears that Joey didn't know that they would be abducting a kid, which I find it very hard to believe that no one else in this group knew what was going on, since they kept calling her the tiny dancer. But after Abigail arrives at the house, they all take their different hiding spots, and dear Lord, Joey, this is not a good hiding spot. She can definitely see you from wherever she's at. Sneaky. But it's time to act, so they sedate Abigail with some sort of drug and quickly make it out without no one noticing. Only someone did notice, because all the alarms go off simultaneously. And now the gang makes it back to the supposed drop-off point where they meet Lambert. And speaking of meeting, no one here actually knows anyone's name, so Lambert decides to give them all fake names, those being Frank, Peter, Sammy, Dean, Joey, and Don Rickles. Because why not? And maybe it's just me, but Frank keeps giving me Link from Good Mythical Morning vibes if he tried to become a gangster. Maybe it's just the glasses, but I don't know, I can't get over it. And of course, no one is allowed to have their phones because criminal activity and whatnot. But even with this, Sammy begins to type out an entire manifesto over here, and also I just realized this is the same girl that was in Paranormal Activity 4, so interesting. And did somebody say Expo Dump? Well, give it up for Joey as she does a party trick where she accurately gives out everyone's backstory, with Dean being a bit of a psycho, Sammy being a rich girl who became a hacker because why not, Peter dealing with bullying so he became big and strong, and of course Frank, who used to be in law enforcement, and Don Rickles being former military. But Frank can do that too, as he points out that Joey used to be a junkie. Joey then goes to check on Abigail and take off her blindfold and fix her chains, to which she asks Abigail if that's better, and no Joey, it's not better, she's still very much kidnapped. But the conversation ends with Abigail apologizing for what's going to happen to Joey, which, excuse me child? What do you mean by that? So Frank goes to find out who Abigail's father is, only to see that she's no longer blindfolded. Thanks, Joey. Frank finds out that her father is Christopher Lazar. And how does Frank respond to this?
I'm waving.
What?
You heard me.
We find out that Lazar is one of the biggest crime bosses in the land. And you may be asking yourself, why not just leave? Well, thanks to Joey, they all know too much about each other, and they think that they will all just rat each other out if they get caught, so thanks, Joey. So now it's time to just lock it all down until the morning when they can get paid and leave. That is until Sammy goes to lay down in her bed, and of course Dean is there. Jesus, Dean really is just a little psycho in the making, isn't he? But after taking the time to draw a wiener on Peter's face, he heads down into the kitchen where he tries to square up with some rats, and now it's time for everyone's favorite game, Who Dies First? The game where we gather all of our lucky contestants to see who will be the first to bite the bullet. It's Dean. Yeah, it's just Dean. But Sammy ends up stumbling upon Dean without a good head on his shoulders, if you get what I mean. And of course, her screaming alerts everyone else in the house. And we find out that decapitation is the calling card of a man named Valdez, one of Lazar's top men. Rickles even tells them a story of a group of Lazar's men who were captured and put into a hotel room. But when they opened the room later, all of them were decapitated and missing their organs. Joey brings up that one of them could be Valdez, which is stupid, because that would mean he would have to have agreed to kidnap his boss's daughter, then get buddy-buddy with the people who did it. Like, I get it. They're using this to set it up and be like, oh look, Abigail is Valdez, what a shocker. But that's just stupid. That's just dumb. You gotta think of all the other things, dumb. And now it turns out that they're all trapped inside the house. And now once again, Joey goes in to talk to Abigail about if someone came in there to check on her when she tells Joey that the man with the glasses told her name was Valdez. And oh boy is Joey stupid for believing that. And now Joey tells Rickles about what she has learned, and Rickles smartly enough points out that if Frank was Valdez, why would he want to leave so badly after finding out that she was Lazar's daughter? And no, Joey, it's not because he was acting, because if he was definitely in the wrong position, and this man should definitely be on Broadway. Rickles then gives an inspirational speech to Joey about how he's going to make sure they make it out of there, and she gets to go see her kid.
So cool.
You're so cool.
Only for him to turn around and immediately die. And of course, now Joey confronts Frank about him being Valdez, and anyone with a double-digit IQ realizes that the girl is just messing with them. So Frank tells Peter that they need to kill the girl and cut their losses. And while the whole group is in Abigail's room arguing about what to do, Abigail slips out of her cuffs and reveals herself to be a vampire. And why choose now of all times to reveal yourself when you're in front of everyone? Like, I get it. She's probably stronger than them and can probably do anything, but you still had the advantage, and now you don't, so awesome. The group then learns that she has escaped from the room because she lives in there and has proven that she can already get out. But the dream team of Peter, Frank, and Sammy decide they're going to go kill her with garlic and wooden pool cues, only to find that Abigail is dancing with Dean's headless body, which means she had to go all the way down to the basement and bring it up here to do this bit, but okay, I guess. But long story short, Abigail beats the brakes off of them, but not before changing her eye color to green. Don't know why. And then they all go back battered and bruised to Joey. And with a plot straight out of a Scooby-Doo episode, the gang splits up to go find Abigail so that they can sedate her with the one syringe that Joey has. Sammy doesn't find Abigail, but she does find a pool of dead bodies, which, two things, how did they not immediately smell that? They must have had one hell of an air freshener. And why is she just leaving all the dead bodies in a pool? That's a complete waste of a pool. And instead of them finding Abigail, Abigail finds Peter. And look, they recreated the scene from Megan. How funny. In the ensuing scuffle though, Joey manages to lose the syringe and Sammy gets bitten by Abigail. But as Abigail is beginning to fly off with Frank, Peter makes one hell of a spear tackle. And they manage to sedate Abigail and lock her in a cage. After waking up, Abigail tells them why they were all brought there, and that's because they have all wronged her father in one way or another, with Sammy stealing money from her father's bank account because she's a hacker, Peter getting bullied in his crime family so he robbed them and ran off, but they just so happened to be a subsidiary of her father's crime family, so just like how Pepsi owned Doritos, I guess, Joey, who used to be a military medic who became addicted to morphine, then started doing underground surgeries and was just a little bit too high one day and messed up a bullet removal on a person you really don't want to mess up a bullet removal on. And of course, as we learned earlier, Frank used to be an undercover detective who got a little too involved in the crime family, and he was actually the one who sold out the guys who died in the hotel room. And I know what you may be asking yourself, and what about the other two? You know, Rickles and Dean? Who cares, because they're dead and they never explain it. They're just dead, so nobody should care, I guess. And it turns out the whole thing was planned by her, and that it wasn't even her house that she was taken from. But, big booty here, if we go back and listen to whoever entered the house, they clearly call out for an Abigail.
Abigail?
So, either weird coincidence that they just so happened to find a house that somebody in that house's name was Abigail. Maybe her name's not Abigail, but I'm pretty sure her name is Abigail. Or that's just an oopsie poopsie when it came to editing and script writing. The world may never know.
The world may never know.
Abigail then tells them whoever lets her out first gets to live, which leads to Peter getting shot so that he doesn't open the door. And Sammy, Joey, and Peter all leave to go patch up Peter, while Frank talks to Abigail about a way out when she tells him of a secret tunnel in the library. And when Frank goes to let her out in return for the information, he just relocks the door, only for Abigail to rip the door off its hinges, basically meaning that the cage served no point to begin with. But before Abigail can finish off Frank, Joey runs in and starts beating at a wall to reveal that it's now daylight outside, and as you can guess, once the light hits Abigail's hand, it explodes. Yep, it explodes, so that's different from vampire movies. And now the crew leaves through the secret tunnel and they all make it out. Not really. Again, it was just a lie. Why do they keep trusting this little girl and anything that she says at this point? While Frank is berating Joey for being a bad mother, he says reset, which leads to Sammy having an idea for how they can get out. Now the gang plan is to split up and go and try to find the power for the security system so they can unplug it and hopefully it resets the locks, much like a Wi-Fi router. And at this point, Peter gives an inspirational speech to Sammy about how they're going to make it out of there. And I'd be careful if I were you, Peter, because the last person who did that didn't last too long. And well, it remains true here as Abigail takes control of Sammy and makes her kill Peter. Then this happens for a solid 30 seconds. Frank and Joey are able to tell that Sammy is now a vampire, and manage to kill her with direct sunlight from the library. And look, an actual secret tunnel that leads to Lambert, as he gives Frank an option to become a vampire like him, and they can kill Abigail and Lazar and become crime bosses, to which Frank says,
Bite me.
And now I want to just take you away from this review for a second, and I want you to close your eyes and just guess what's happening here. And no, it's not what happens after an all-night Taco Bell bender. This is the sound of turning into a vampire. And immediately after turning into said vampire, Frank kills Lambert, but instead of saving Joey, he just plans on killing everyone because evil? I mean, in the movie, he says it's because she messed with him, but evil?
More like under new management.
And Abigail shows up, only to also get drained by Frank, but it gives Joey enough time to deactivate the security system and dip out, only to see that the tunnel door that they came into is locked. And as she tries to call her son, Frank shows up, and instead of killing her, he for some reason throws her through the only way she can get out. This kind of becomes a reoccurring theme with Frank just not finishing the job, and he just kind of throws her around some before she's saved by Abigail. What? That reason being because Abigail says she can't take him on her own. So the gang has to team up and just kind of get beaten down again until Frank bites Joey on the neck and possesses her to kill Abigail, only it didn't work and Joey fumbles the bag in trying to stab him. And due to the fact that Frank didn't kill either of them in like the 300 chances he had, he ends up getting poofed. So good job, Frank. You were literally winning that fight for 98% of the fight, but good job, way to fumble. And after this, Abigail tells Joey that she can leave. That is, until their father shows up, but before he can kill Joey, Abigail steps in between them and tells him that she was there for her when he wasn't. And I don't know if it's daytime again, because he just got burned, Lazar. Or should I say, a Lazar? Get it? Lazar? Okay.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But now, Joey gets into the van and that they arrived in, and where did Lazar come from? Because there's no other car out here. It's just the van. Can Lazar turn into a bat? But that is the end of Abigail. And now it's time for the beginning of review time. So getting right on into the review, we're just gonna start off with the plot. For the plot, it only got a 1 for me just because of the fact that it's very up and down at times as to what makes sense. You know, with the whole kidnapping part where it wasn't even her house, it wasn't even anything related to her, but yet, like I said in the review, if we go back, somebody says Abigail, so either that was just a dumb coincidence choice, or they kind of fumbled that part of the script. The whole Valdez part was also really stupid, as I explained also in the review, because why would one of Lazar's top men decide, I'm going to abduct his daughter, I'm going to hold her for ransom, and then be able to act as though he didn't know who it was? Because nobody knew who the kid was when they first got to the house. So, I mean, do with that what you will, but I thought that was a stupid ploy. And then the super gullible people, the fact that Joey was 100% believing everything that was told to her by everybody. It didn't matter. It could have been the mailman. The mailman could have shown up and said, hey, you just won $1 million. Just sign here. It's all coming from a Nigerian prince. And she would have been all about that. So kind of super gullible. I understand it's a kid. You want to believe the kid, but also kid of crime family. I do like the fact that Frank got no redemption because he kind of sucked. Even though he did have the option to redeem himself, he was the bad guy in the beginning, and the okay guy in the middle, and then bad guy again at the end. So, I don't know. Thought that was funny. For the acting, it gets a 2.5 from me. I really liked all the adult actors though. I liked Dean. I liked Peter. I liked Frank. Even though she was super gullible, I liked Joey's actings. I liked everybody in the house for the most part. I liked Abigail was kind of meh, but then again, it's a child actor. It's going to be kind of meh. The only thing that's kind of sad to see is that at the end of this, there was a message for Angus Cloud, which is the guy who played Dean. That's incredibly unfortunate. It's very sad to see something like that happen. He was able to film all of his scenes that he was in this movie and actually died mid-production of it. So that was kind of sad to see at the end of it, but I feel like he did all right at the beginning of it also. But I thought everyone was pretty good. Like I said, it gets a 2.5 from me because I feel like the cast was super solid. The cinematography gets a 2.5. I liked it. Some of it was super goofy, like with the explosions and stuff like that, but the use of actual physical effects will always get a much higher score from me because that's something that you don't see a lot of nowadays, and I just appreciated that. I feel like they did a really good job with that. The shots in it weren't bad either. Of course, it was a nice looking movie. It's made by Universal Pictures or Universal Studios. It's got all the money in the world behind it. So yeah, it's going to look nice. But I thought they also did a really good job with the physical practical effects. So it gets a 2.5 for me because physical effects make Lizardmon very happy, make me a happy boy. And then we get to the bonus point. For the bonus point, it gets the full point. It's a funny movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and as long as you just go into it with that, you'll be fine. And before I get a little bit of criticism for that, because I know I usually grade harder on movies that are dumb or don't take themselves too seriously, there's a difference. This movie goes into it not taking itself too seriously. It's a movie about a kid who is a vampire, who is attacking all these, honestly enough, these very interesting personality people. So it's actually something that's you feel for almost every single person who is in this movie, which is a huge deal for me. Very important. If you don't like the main characters, then you're not going to watch the movie. Every single character in this you like at some point. That's really good. That's really good from a movie to do, to like every character. So the fact that it already knows that it's not taking itself too seriously, and it's a funny movie, go into it with that and you can enjoy it. This isn't like that one Zack Snyder movie with the whole Day of the Dead or whatever, not the old one, but the newest one that came out, where it's stupid and it just stays stupid. This is a good movie. This is a very good movie. They take itself not too seriously and make fun of it at the same time. Just enjoy it. So with that being said, the final score for me, if we add it all together, is 1 for the plot, 2.5 for the acting, 2.5 for the cinema, and 1 bonus point. We were walking out of here with a grand total of 7 out of 10. And if we compare that to the IMDb score with a 6.6 out of 10, I actually graded it higher. So get wrecked, IMDb. This one, I actually ranked above you, as opposed to all my other ones where I rank below what the IMDb score is. But that is my review for the movie Abigail. My final say on it, go watch it. It's fun. If you want to watch just a goofy, funny horror movie, watch this. It's not super scary. It's one of those where you want to watch a horror movie. Yeah, it's got a bit of gore in it. That I think it's just gore to be goofy gore, but I feel like you should go watch it. It's a funny movie. It's a movie that you can watch once, maybe even twice, and still be like, funny. So, like I said, that's my review for the movie Abigail. I know recently I've been doing a lot of different other projects with gameplay videos, my little crappy Amazon animation thing. I don't know. I just like doing other stuff from time to time. I'm going to make what I think would be fun to do, and that's what I do. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm definitely not going to stop making movie reviews because I also like making movie reviews. So I don't know what I'm going to do next. As always, you can always comment something that you want me to do. I can always take a look at it. But once again, thank you for everyone who stopped by to listen/watch or whatever you do to intake this video. Once again, leave your comments on what you felt about the movie. Did you like it? Have you seen it? Do you care? I don't know. Let me know. That's what the comments are for. But until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, wonderful whatever time frame you desire, and I shall see you in the next one.